afternoon. It feels like it's been the longest of weeks. Like, I think I did a video last week, Tuesday, just after Arsenal lost to Manchester City. And I feel like it's been a long time since I've been sat in this seat talking about football with you lot. But anyway, we'll get right into it. We'll go from match day 24, obviously, which is obviously where the last set of Premier League fixtures were. Obviously, we've had Champions League football and Europa League in between that as well. And of course, we've got the Carabao final coming up this weekend also. So, Villa Park. Aston Villa let the side down, man. Aston Villa 2, Arsenal 4. Though I thought Aston Villa played pretty well. They've got some decent phases of play, actually, Aston Villa, especially through the middle. And Leon Bailey, I think, should start a lot more because he gives them an extra bit of impetus when up top. Enjoyable game. Arsenal, I think, just showed that they're a cut above Aston Villa at the moment with regards to the quality that they have. I won't call it luck. I don't think they were lucky to win the game, but I don't think it would have been a poor result if Aston Villa turned out the winners. I just think Aston Villa defensively are quite shocking, to be quite honest with you, and it showed pretty much. So Arsenal obviously getting their lead back, so to speak. So I think they're ahead again now by what? Is it 3 points with a game in hand or something like that? Obviously because of Manchester City drawing at Nottingham Forest at the City ground, which we'll go to next. A little bit of a drab game, that one, and something that I didn't expect to see a Manchester City side to do. They were very slow and very lethargic on the day. I keep on saying this every week. Nottingham Forest are very good at home. People need to not underestimate them because that's what's going to keep them up, as I keep on saying. And so it's proven. Forest played very well, probably deserved their goal based on their second half display. Yeah, Manchester City kind of just took the lead and then kind of just took their foot off the gas. No real plan B. Haaland missed an absolute sitter as well, which is not something you'd associate with him. Yeah, a little bit of a strange one, that one, to be quite honest. I'll probably chalk it down to a bad day at the office. But that's not to say they're not in the Forest are pushovers, because we know they're not. You just get them away days where it just doesn't fall your way, and I think that was it for Manchester City. But they're going to bounce back anyway, as we all know. We'll go to the G-Tech Stadium from that. Brentford 1, Crystal Palace 1. The kind of game I would have called Brentford to win, but a little bit shocked at Crystal Palace because they don't usually pick up points away from home, which is, again, a bit strange, but they do have players that can hurt you. And so it proved. They actually took the lead in that game, and I think Yanalt had an equaliser in the 96th minute or something like that for Brentford. So didn't actually see this game, so I can't really comment too much about it. But from what I saw, it seemed pretty evenly matched. And there isn't really much else to really say on it, to be quite honest with you. 1-1 draw, a decent draw for both teams, relating to what it is they're looking to do this season. Wolverhampton versus Bournemouth for Molineux. Would I call it a shock that Wolverhampton lost 1-0 to Bournemouth? Yes, because they've been playing a lot better and obviously beat Liverpool in the last home game out before this one. Bournemouth showed a lot of grit in this one, to be quite honest. Bournemouth currently sitting in like the bottom 4 at the moment. So I fully expected them to hold a little bit of corner on this one, but not to be. Just better at Wolverhampton on the day. First to everything, first to every ball, and took their chance when it came. Again, another one of those games I didn't really see, but Wolverhampton looked pretty bland from what I saw. Didn't really have much spark. There wasn't much impetus. Their forward players couldn't really get into the game because of the low block that Bournemouth had. Yeah, it was a struggle for them. They need that striker that's going to put the ball in the back of the net, and they currently don't have that at the minute. I do see Wolverhampton staying up there, and I still see Bournemouth going down. Moving on to the Amex Stadium, this one was no shock. Shocked in the fact that Brighton had so much possession, had all the chances in the world, couldn't convert, but Fulham obviously hit him on the counter and Saka punched them. Solomon on the score sheet again. 1-0 win for Fulham at the Amex, which is a massive win for them. Takes Fulham up to 6th, which is a madness considering Fulham were probably my relegation candidates at the start of the season, one of the teams to go down. But they're playing phenomenally at the moment, and of course Fulham are playing this evening against Wolverhampton at Craven Cottage, which we'll obviously get to a little bit later. But fine win for Fulham. Brighton, again, still one of the better teams to watch in the league, but sometimes conversion of chances. They create so much but don't score many, which is a little bit of an annoyance for them. They absolutely need a striker in the summer. That is paramount. That's painfully obvious to see. But for their style of play, I commend it, and they'll keep playing that way and they will be fine. They'll finish in the top 10 easily. Might finish above Liverpool and Chelsea at this rate. Everton versus Leeds, live from Goodison Park. Another one of those games I didn't really see, but again, one of those games that I thought Everton will probably win based on the fact that Sean Dyche is now their manager. That's now 2 clean sheets at home in their last 2 home games. Of course, the first one was against Arsenal. This one being against Leeds. Leeds didn't really have much going forward. They might be in trouble, Leeds United, if I'm being really honest. They might be in trouble because they don't know how to defend. The basics aren't there for them. Again, whilst Leeds are a very, very good watch, they do concede a lot of goals. And that's obviously going to be a problem if you're going to stay in this league. And I think that they're bang in trouble now. Everton will get out of it. They will comfortably finish in the top 12, 13. Push on again in the summer. Get a few signings and yeah, they'll be fine. Completely fine. Chelsea 0, Southampton 1 from Stamford Bridge. Yeah, okay. So if we want to talk about shots, that is probably it. Bottom of the table, Southampton went to Chelsea and beat them 1-0, and it wasn't even like it was uncomfortable for them. They went there and actually bossed their game. What I saw, another James Ward-Prowse free kick, more Chelsea tears. Stamford Bridge falling down. Every single nursery rhyme you can think of which incorporates Chelsea, get at them. They deserve it. Southampton came to play and came with a game plan, got the result, dominated the chances created, dominated the chances conversion. Just better all round. Chelsea are in trouble and they stink. But of course, when Chelsea come to us, watch us turn them into prime Brazil, and they're probably going to end up taking points from us because that's what we do, innit? We love doing that. We love giving to charity. But my goodness, Chelsea are bad. So bad. Bottom of the table, Southampton at Stamford Bridge, you know. Wow. Nottingham Forest, Man City, obviously we've been through the City ground. I've obviously gone through that. Manchester City obviously stays second. Rooted there, 3 points behind Arsenal with a game played more. Newcastle versus Liverpool was the evening kickoff from St James's Park. And I was going to say Newcastle let the side down. I'm kind of happy Newcastle didn't win because it allowed us to get back into the top 4. So thank you for that. But Nick Pope, what are you doing? What are you doing? For a top-class keeper like you, what are you doing? And now you're going to miss the cup final on Sunday. It's all just a bit long. Karius is going to be in goal, 3rd-and-a-half choice goalkeeper. It's horrendous. It is absolutely horrendous. Newcastle 0, Liverpool 2 from St James's Park. I actually had Newcastle to win this quite easily. Liverpool actually showed me something a little bit different to what we're used to, obviously. And yeah, they had their front three sort of firing on all cylinders, if you like. Mo Salah teeing up, I think it was Gakpo's goal, and I think Alexander-Arnold teeing up the first goal for Darwin Núñez, yeah. Decent. Liverpool looked decent over the weekend, but obviously a little bit has to be said about Newcastle because they were just not at it. The sending off did not help them in the slightest. It was incredibly poor by all accounts, to be quite honest with you. And I don't necessarily know where Newcastle go from here because they've been on a very, very decent run. But with that run, they're not winning many games. There've been a lot of draws. So I'm intrigued to see where they go from here. On to Old Trafford. Manchester United 3, Leicester 0. Another game I'm annoyed about because I had a bet on for Man United to obviously win the game. Marcus Rashford to have 2 shots on target. James Maddison to have a shot on target. Each team to have 4 corners. Each team to have a man yellow carded. And of course, Marcel Sabitzer should have been yellow carded in the first half for that shocking challenge. But nothing happened to him, which obviously killed my bet. So, little bit of a sour one on that one, but Manchester United running out winners. It's the type of result I expected them to have over Leicester. They're just in a better form at the moment. Players seem to be coming to the fore at the right time. They're in a really decent run. Ten Hag is doing a fantastic job, and Man United will comfortably finish second in this league. As for Leicester City, they'll be fine as well, I think. They're going to be reliant on their home form, a bit like Nottingham Forest, because they are shocking away. And that's all there is to say about it, to be quite honest. Marcus Rashford obviously keeps his streak alive, even though that was curtailed yesterday because obviously he didn't score against Barcelona, with Man United going through in the Europa League. And I think they got Real Betis in the next round. But yeah, Manchester United, no problems there. Unless obviously Rashford gets injured, but even then I still think they've got enough to obviously do the business. I think they'll finish second, Man City will finish top, and I do think Arsenal will finish in about third or fourth. Speaking of fourth, guess who's back in the top four? We are there. Yeah. How are we one of the worst teams in the league and still in the top four? This just shows you how bad everyone else is. We've lost 8 games this season, and we're still in the fourth spot. We beat West Ham 2-0. It was probably one of the worst games of the weekend, but I don't care. When it comes to games like that, I just want the points. This point in the season, I just want points. Give me points any day of the week. I don't care about performance. I don't care about strategy. Conte needs to stay in Italy right now, because the 2 games he came back after his surgery, we lost both of them, innit? So yeah, now I'm all over it. Son back on the score sheet, which obviously we needed. Something we're very, very happy with. Of course, Harry Kane with another assist. And Emerson Royale. Emerson Royale with a striker's finish, I might add. Ben Davies with the assist on that as well. Looking like prime Roberto Carlos and Cafu, boy. Woo! And I slate Emerson Royale on a daily basis. I can't stand that, brother. But if he's doing a business like that, long may it continue. He's not a glamorous right back. I don't think he's very good, but boy, if he can finish like that, stick him up top, Gaffer. Stick him up top. 2-0 win for us. We march on into next week's fixtures. Well, actually, we start tonight, to be quite honest. I say next week, it's literally tomorrow. So I'm a week off, man. Tonight we'll start Craven Cottage, Fulham versus Wolves. I will go with a Wolves win. I think Wolves are going to take this 2-0. Wolverhampton, I just don't think have any answers at the moment and can't seem to score goals. Fulham are in the form of their life, and I see Fulham winning this 2-0. Newcastle versus Brighton at St James's Park is obviously off due to Newcastle's participation in the Carabao Cup final. Manchester United also the same. They're obviously in the final with Newcastle, and that match has been postponed also. Everton versus Aston Villa from Goodison Park. Everton win for me. I'll go 2-0. No, actually, I won't. I'll go 2-1. Everton will have too much for Aston Villa, for my liking. Under Sean Dyche, they're not going to concede many chances, and they will create quite a decent amount. Leicester City versus Arsenal. So, head tells me Arsenal because Arsenal seem to be churning out results at the right time. Heart tells me Leicester because I just feel Leicester at home are a different kettle of fish, and they do like playing on the counter, which will probably set Arsenal up to concede a few. But it's a matter of Leicester can keep them out, and Leicester did literally outplay us a couple of weeks ago. Can I see that happening with Arsenal? Probably, yeah. Depends if Partey is back in the team as well. I do see goals in this one. I'm going to go 3-2 Leicester. Don't ask me why. I just see it as a game that will be a bit too much for Arsenal, to be quite honest. Physicality is everything. If you're physical with Arsenal, then man cannot handle it. And I think Leicester, especially with Mendy in the midfield, as well as Maddison, a little bit of creativity, I just think there'll be too much for them, and I think Leicester will have too much, and it will be a 3-2 scoreline. West Ham versus Nottingham Forest from the London Stadium. I'm going to go a 1-1 draw, and that's not because I hate West Ham as much as I hate Arsenal and Chelsea. I just don't want to see West Ham happy ever. I do think Forest are going to score, and West Ham don't score too many. They are quite boring to watch at the moment. And it's shocking how bad and how fast they're sliding down the table at the moment. But I can't say I'm not happy to see it, because obviously I am. I'll go 1-1 for that. Leeds United versus Southampton from Ellen Road. I will go with a 1-1 draw there as well. Southampton will be buoyed by that result last week at Chelsea. And Leeds United still aren't firing on all cylinders yet. So that, for me, has draw written all over it. Leeds could nick it based on the fact they're at home. Will they? I'm not entirely sure. I just think it's a game that Southampton would be more up for. So I'm going with a 1-1 draw. The evening game tomorrow is Bournemouth versus Manchester City. Usually, traditionally, this game is a tough game for Manchester City because Bournemouth always like to give them a game, and I don't see that happening here. I do see Manchester City scoring. I think they're going to score 2. I'm going to go with a 2-0 win, Manchester City. Bournemouth may get one. Potentially. I just don't see who's going to score it. Might be from like a set piece or an own goal or something. But I'm going to go with a 2-0 win. Manchester City will keep the heat on Arsenal. Crystal Palace versus Liverpool. That is another evening game. So we've got Saturday night live and then we've got another game thereafter. I think it's a double header. So Palace v Liverpool from Selhurst Park. So after what happened to Liverpool midweek, getting slapped about by Real Madrid 5-2 in the Champions League, I think they're going to be brittle. And Crystal Palace is not the place you want to go to when you've been knocked about like that. And I do see Crystal Palace becoming a little bit, Liverpool becoming a bit of a laughing stock this weekend. I think Palace are going to absolutely show them what's good. And I'm going with a Palace 2-1 win. Could be 3-1 actually. I just think Liverpool are so brittle right now. Defensively, they are shocking. Probably one of the worst defensive teams in the top 10. And when I say top 10, I mean Liverpool are barely in the top 10 right now. Along with this club, Chelsea, who come to Spurs, as I said before. I think we're going to take the result based on the fact that Chelsea is so bad at the moment, based on the fact there's so much turmoil that seems to be at the club at the minute. Graham Potter doesn't seem to know whether he's coming or going. Will he be in the job? Will he be out? There's so much uncertainty. They've got a lot of injuries as well. A lot of new players to bed in and incorporate into the team. We seem like we have a solid 11. It's just a matter of getting the defence heads right. If the defence don't concede, we're likely going to win the game because we always seem to score goals. After I said all this, of course, Chelsea are going to probably end up 2-0 winners. I hope this doesn't. Please don't do this to me. I've literally done a video. Please don't do this to me. I'm going to go Tottenham 2, Chelsea 0. Putting my neck on the line for this. Do not let me down, boys. Swear, don't let me down, man. For real. For real. Consolidate top 4. Newcastle on in action. It's our time to take 4th place. We're going to do that. Tottenham to win it, 2-0. Chelsea will stay in 10th. I think they can actually go down lower, actually, if they lose their game. Because I think a couple of teams below them are already 2 points behind them. So Chelsea could actually start the next match week in the bottom half of the table. Which is what they were before the money came in anyway. They were very, very much like us, top of the bottom. So, long may that continue. But that's my roundup for the week. I know it's a little bit of a shorter one. But it is what it is. There's not many games, obviously, because of the Carabao Cup final. But enjoy your weekend. I'll give you another video in the next week. And until then, in a bit.